through the debate. All right, well, I just felt like I needed to bring up 7:39 here on this Tuesday morning. It is the 10th day of September, the eve of the big presidential debate tonight out of Philadelphia. That's at 9 o'clock between Kamala Harris, the sitting vice president, and the former president of the United States, Donald Trump. We'll talk about strategy going forward. But back to Virginia politics, it's very interesting. Newly elected state senator John McGuire challenged the incumbent Republican congressman Bob Good and beat him. And so now Bob Good is on his way out of Congress. In January, he won't be there. I think most people assume that John McGuire will be elected as the Republican to Congress, so he will replace Bob Good as a Republican replacing a Republican in Congress, which will then open up John McGuire's seat in the state Senate in a pretty conservative district. One of the people who is going to run to replace John McGuire is the former senator from Chesterfield, Amanda Chase. She's made the big announcement now. I was kind of wondering if she was going to pull the trigger and do this, and Amanda Chase is with us this morning. Good morning, Amanda. I appreciate you coming on. Tell me about the thought process and what you're doing here.
Well, good morning, John. It's great to be on with you this morning. So as many of you all know, most people know me as the senator from Chesterfield, where I grew up. I ran for governor, as you all know, back in 2020, 2021. And spent a lot of time in Senate District 10 and fell in love with Appomattox, fell in love with Senate District 10. I actually campaigned with John McGuire when he was running for state Senate. So spent a lot of time in Senate District 10. I was the legislator that he asked to introduce him to Senate District 10 at the convention there. He could choose any person he wanted, and I was chosen to introduce him. So I know a lot of the folks in Senate District 10. I understand the district, and I've now moved since to Appomattox and I'm putting down roots here. Bought a home in historic Appomattox and live in the historic district and absolutely loving it here. But, I see this as my opportunity. I only lost by 375 votes out of 22,000 votes in a three-way race. So
in that primary back in Chesterfield?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So, it's another 4 years. So when this seat looks like it's going to be opening up, I let people know as the first to announce on July 2nd that I'm interested in the seat. And unlike Ghazala Hashmi, I actually purchased a home and moved to the district. That's my primary residence.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide cleans better than the leading competitive free detergent, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
Plus, Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
I would make
Interesting.
That
yeah.
And I'm fully committed. There's a lot of people that have been rumored to run, but I'm all in. And I made that determination back in July 2nd. I've been visiting all the committee meetings in Senate District 10, which includes Hanover, parts of Hanover, Powhatan, parts of Louisa, Goochland, Fluvanna, Appomattox, Amelia, which I represented for 8 years, Buckingham, Cumberland, and Prince Edward, which part of Prince Edward. So it's a very strong conservative district, which matches who I've been in the legislature for 8 years, and I have a very conservative. In fact, people would say, and various watchdog groups would say, I had the most conservative record, 8-year record in the Virginia Senate, and actually my voting record very much more matches actually Senate District 10 than it did in the one I ran in, which is Senate District 12. And I would also tell you, as I'm visiting the GOPs, I'm getting a very warm welcome in these districts. They're all but rolling out the red carpet, saying they're so excited that I moved into Senate District 10. They're looking forward to supporting me. I've even had, it was really euphoric, to be honest with you. And a very welcome change for, as you know, some of the issues that I've had to deal with the old guard and the Chesterfield GOP. So it's been a refreshing change.
All right, let me throw at you kind of the ugly thing that I know you're going to hear, so I'm sure you have an answer for it. But some people have said, "Oh, Amanda, we like Amanda, but this is a carpetbagger thing to do, to move to Appomattox. That she doesn't really want to be here; she just wants to be back in the Senate." So I'm not. I don't say that to insult you, but just what would your response be, since that's kind of the stuff I hear from some people?
Well, sure. I mean, I took advantage of the opportunity that it's an open seat. I'm not planning on going back to Chesterfield. My plan is to reside here in Appomattox. I would say I have my forever home here in Appomattox, and I hope you'll come and take a look at it. It was a home that was built in 18. It's a beautiful residence, and
the photos you posted online, it looks really nice. To be honest with you,
it's beautiful here. I mean, I love it here in Appomattox. It already feels like home. And, Chesterfield, the dynamics there are changing. And I've lived in Chesterfield since 1979. In fact, your dad was my principal at Robius. And I remember when Chesterfield was a lot like Appomattox. But the reality is that Chesterfield is changing. And I went to the Appomattox GOP meeting, and there were two folks who moved from Chesterfield to Appomattox because they also share our conservative values. And it's just, I was getting a lot of political attacks. I had Amanda Pohl, who is the current clerk of the circuit court, asking to review my concealed carry permit in Chesterfield. And that's when I said, it's time to get out of Chesterfield. Sometimes, as they say, survival is a noble cause. So, I conceal carry. Everybody knows I'm a strong Second Amendment advocate because for me it's personal, and you have the political ruling class in Chesterfield, which is now dominated by Democrats, unfortunately. It's become politically too risky. They're coming after my concealed carry permit. So
that seems like it's going to be a crowded field. I think that Dwayne Adams, who was on the Louisa County Board of Supervisors, I think it was chair, is going to jump in or has jumped into this race. I was told that Gene Gannon, a longtime GOP activist and leader, is going to jump in. I think there's some other people who have texted me like, I'm thinking about it. What do you think? How do you deal with that if there are people who are rooted in the community who also are going to jump in? And if it's a huge, one person told me there'd be 10 people, Amanda, running for this nomination.
Well, look, I am going to be running on my voting record. I am the only person running that I know of that has an 8-year experience and history in the Virginia Senate. I understand better than anyone how things work or don't work, quite honestly, in the Senate. And I'm really excited about the new leadership there. Ryan McDougall is now the chair. I worked great with Ryan. A lot of the folks that weren't sticking to the Republican creed, and I was calling to account, holding them accountable, are no longer in the Senate. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to rejoining the caucus, and I know how things work, and experience matters. People can take a look at my 8-year conservative voting record, 100% rating with the gun right groups like VCDL, A rating with the NRA. A lot of these folks are going to say, I am a conservative, but I have a voting record that proves that I am. So I think I'll have my experience in the Senate and my voting record, which will speak volumes as to who's the best qualified candidate for the race, no matter how many people enter the race.
Well, you have been one of the people on the forefront for a long time. You've taken a beating and you keep on coming back. And I do know you care deeply about these issues. So I will look forward to continuing our conversation. And I appreciate you joining us. Amanda Chase.
Well, it's my pleasure. And people can go to my website, chaseforsenate.com, to sign up for the Honey Badger report. And John, I would also want to let you know that this is going to be a 5-day election, more likely. And I've been talking to Chris Marsden, who is the attorney for the GOP. This is not going to be your typical election. The governor will probably announce a special election, and it'll be held on January 7th, more likely. It's the day before session begins. And we're basically only going to have 5 days from when the governor announced to when we come up with our Republican nominee. So I encourage people to go to my website, sign up so you can be notified when the voting takes place, so we can let you know, because it'll be over with in 5 days. So
we'll
very
be paying
important.
attention. We've been paying attention. All right, Amanda Chase, thank you so very much. I appreciate it. And, of course, we'll let the other candidates, as they announce, come on and share their thoughts, too, just in the interest of being fair. I always appreciate that. 7:49, we're back.